So I wanted to talk about, so Michaela, I hope you all know me. I want to talk about the two drivers for compulsive eating. So often when people are either engaging in habits, yay, Emmett, that they're not in favor of, or they're wishing to lose weight and change habits that they're not really wishing to continue with, and they're doing things that they're continuing to not want to do, there are two main drivers for that. So one is biological, being driven by your biology, and the other one is being driven by your emotions. So I just want to make the distinction between the two and hopefully create logic around both, okay? So biological eating. So I talk a lot about sugar burning, being in a sugar burning mode versus being in a fat burning mode. When one is in a sugar burning mode, it's kind of rough. So basically, sugar burners tend to be hungry a lot. They tend to crave sweet or starchy carbs. So like bread, pasta, sweets, potato chips, even things like pretzels, soda. I think I said that. Hungry often. They tend to be like hungry at the drop of a hat. They tend to crash in the afternoon. They tend to need coffee in the morning. They tend to often have like an emotional reaction to certain foods, whether you're getting them or not getting them. They tend to have interrupted sleep, night sweats. I think that's kind of like the bulk of things. So if you're in that state, that is a sugar burning state, and the whole deal with it is that it can feel pretty impossible to pass up things that you tend to reach for. So, the cookie in the break room or the cookies in the break room feel like not an option to walk past. Or if you have one, it's actually kind of impossible to not have all. So what I want to just clarify is that is a biological state, which is what I help people with. So switching them into a fat burning mode, which basically fat burners like sleep soundly through the night, no night sweats, they're not that hungry, they can comfortably go like 4 or 5+ hours without food, no problem. Their mood is even, up, energy is plentiful, mornings feel great, afternoon is totally fine, and then not having cravings. So that is the option biologically, okay? And I will own that I'm good at helping shift people from one mode to the other. So the thing that I want to share or reinforce is that if you are struggling with not eating certain things and you think it's just a matter of will, if your biology is set up in this manner, you will buckle at some point, okay? So at any rate, so if you want to learn about that, be in touch, personally message me. If you wish to fill out a sugar burner questionnaire to see where you are, be in touch, okay? Then the other thing I want to bring up is emotional eating. So again, a lot of people will just kind of like bear down and expect for themselves to not eat certain things or not eat an abundance of certain things at certain times as they have. So I want to make the disclaimer that I certainly am familiar with this process, with this shitty form of coping. I'm not an emotional eating coach. If you have a desire to be connected with one, I can share a woman's information that has changed my life because it was such a big freaking deal for me, which is why I know so much about this stuff, to manage weight, to not gain weight, despite being an emotional eater. But at any rate, if this is something that you, like a prison that you have lived in, that is compromising your health, your happiness, your forward movement, I'm very happy to share anything, a resource, my journey. But the other thing that I want to say is that, so emotional eating, both of these things are logical. So emotional eating is basically, so it's a shitty way to cope. And really what it is us just not using our feelings, or not feeling our feelings, and using them as nature intended. Because the whole deal with feelings is that they are meant to move us. They are energy. They are meant to bring us into action. And so typically there are lots of emotions or feelings in our culture that have been kind of categorized as being negative. So like, ooh, don't be sad, like don't be mad. Actually, like these things are useful to change the current situation. So if we deny how we feel and we don't have an outlet for them, what emotional eaters do is they just kind of like, ignore or stuff this stuff down until you reach a breaking point, which will come at some point. So additionally, why I'm sharing this is to kind of like take off the hair shirt, like stop the self-flagellation, to hopefully help stop the self-flagellation around this, because there's logic to it. So often when people are trying to develop different behaviors, healthier behaviors, lose weight, not eat certain things, they'll kind of like hold their breath and intend to like not have carbohydrates or cookies for a month or whatever it is, and then suddenly it's like something has overtaken them and they're up to their elbows in this, bag of Oreos, or, the plate of brownies is gone. And like the act of eating grounds us when we go past a certain point. So then we kind of like wake up feeling sane again, full of regret, vowing even more deeply to not do that again. And the thing that I want to share is that will happen if we don't deal with our feelings. So what I wish to share is something that's been effective for me to kind of keep things clear, to not have this buildup happen to result in emotional eating that I'm not really interested in. The whole arc of regret and, possible weight gain and all this other crap. So I did not create this technique. It's called spring cleaning. This genius of a creature, Mama Gina, did. I've talked about her program Mastery. I've talked about this amazing community that's connected to it, her book Pussy, which talks about her program basically in like written form, which everyone should check out. But at any rate, so there's this tool called spring cleaning. And so if you are a sister goddess and you wrestle with emotional eating, I will just heavily encourage you to utilize that technique because it is freaking effective. If you are not a sister goddess and you are not familiar with that technique, I created a love bite. Talked about love bites the other day. Just in basically, like, the better you feel, the better you're going to treat yourself, the easier it is to stick with things that you actually want to stay committed to. So if you have a desire to have a little instruction about that, to get a sense of what that actually entails, please personally message me. I made a little love bite that talked about why that's so effective and how that operates. Okay? So I think that is it for today. So like the two main drivers around compulsive eating, biological, which we are not going to get around until we change our biology. That's this whole sugar burning, fat burning mode thing that I am always talking about. So if you have a desire to shift that, to stop these biological cravings for Oreos or, whatever else it might be, and you'd like to see where you are, sugar burning or fat burning wise, please be in touch. Super happy to share a questionnaire or to just share more about how fat burning works. If emotional eating is something that's going on with you and it is a big freaking deal, I'm very happy to share a resource for an emotional eating coach who has literally saved and changed my life. And or if you desire to understand more about a technique that has been, again, supremely helpful for just keeping things clear, for keeping emotions moving, for a technique that is helpful for expressing things, moving stuff that feels like safe, contained, and super duper useful. If you wish to know more about spring cleaning, personally message me. I'm very happy to share a little love bite that explains all of that. Okay? So I think that's it. Oh, yes. And if you want to, I'm committed to 30 days of this. This is day number 5. If you want to receive more updates like this, please go to michaelafolks.com and subscribe. And I don't know exactly the format that I'm going to be using in the future, but my whole goal is to share information, certainly about weight loss or fat burning, about health in general, and basically how to have what you want, and to feel free in the process of getting it. So anyway, hopefully this stuff feels useful. Hopefully you use it, or be in touch if you have a desire to understand more. All right? So I think that's it. I hope people can hear me. I haven't heard anything about that. But thank you guys for coming on, and until tomorrow. Okay, bye.